Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ellie. I am a knitter based in Austria and this is our first Q&A video. If you're familiar with my podcast, Cast On, then you will know that I wanted to do this video for a while. So I asked you in that video if you had any questions, and then I also asked you on Instagram to send me any questions that you would like to have answered, and I'm very pleased to say that hence this video exists, that you have actually sent me some questions which I'm very excited to answer today. So I think we can just get straight into it. So grab your knitting, grab yourself a drink and let's have a chat. I will also knit on something because I wouldn't be a knitter if I couldn't just sit still and not do anything. So today I am working on my excavation blanket. This is what it looks like. Again, you can check out my podcast if you want to know more about it. I talk about this over there a lot. So I think we can get started with the first few questions. And I do have them on my phone. I have my phone right here so I don't forget any of your questions. And the first thing would be to talk about my knitting journey. And I'm very excited to talk about this because I always think it's very interesting to hear other people's story. So it kind of ties in with who taught me. I taught myself. I started knitting at the back end of 2021. I think I started in either October or November, and I actually started out crocheting, so that's how I got into the fibre world. I started crocheting in that summer because I just wanted another hobby, and I saw this really cool patchwork jumper, so I really wanted to make that as well. And that's also my first video that I ever uploaded on this channel. So if you go back a few months now, actually it's over a year now, you will see that I have done quite a few crochet videos, and they're still one of the most viewed ones, funnily enough, especially my first one. So yeah, that's how I started out. Crocheting, and then the reason why I got into knitting is because crocheting started to hurt my hands, and because it's always the same motion and you only have like one tool, you have one hook. And I found this pattern online and it was a free pattern. It's a round yoke, it's bottom up, and it's colour work, and not just any colour work but 3 colours colour work, which you also have to hold at one point together. So I literally started out with probably the worst thing you can start out with for a beginner: a bottom up jumper that has colour work and 3 colours. Yeah, but I enjoyed it so much that I just kept going. I wanted to knit my boyfriend the jumper as a Christmas present, and at first I thought I would crochet, but then I thought, why don't I just try knitting? It would be a lot easier. But at that time I didn't know anything about gauge, so I actually have it here with me. This is the jumper. I forgot the name again, but I will link the pattern down below. It is huge. It is absolutely massive. Like I said, I didn't know anything about gauge, and you can tell that. It looks incredible, but it's so oversized. It's actually almost like a dress for my boyfriend. The yoke is way too deep. Even if I hold it up, my elbow is like here and the yoke is still not done. But my boyfriend loves it dearly, and I did ask him if I should make this one again, just repurpose the yarn, but he refuses. He won't let me unravel it and start again. And because I wanted to keep it as a secret, I had to work on it when he was at work, or had to go in a dark corner where he wouldn't see me work on it. And that's also why it came out way too big. I could have shortened the body, but because I didn't want to tell him what I'm gonna give him for Christmas, that's why it is that way. So that's kind of how I started. And then I just looked up loads and loads of YouTube videos. I started out with a few drops design patterns, some free patterns, and then I got into obviously the yarn side of the craft, of getting better yarn, getting nicer wool and stuff. So I like left acrylic behind, and yeah, that's how I started, and that's who taught me. YouTube did. Another question is something in knitting you have been nervous to try. And I had to think about this question a lot, because there is nothing really I'm scared of to try, but there are a few things where I'm a bit nervous and where I say, okay, maybe not right now. The first thing would be steeking. I know steeking is not as difficult as people make it out to be if you have the right technique. I do know how to sew, so that part is not the issue at all, but I'm just really worried that once I put so much work into the piece and I make a mistake because, I don't know, the wool isn't tacky enough, or God knows what happens, that all of this work that I put in will just fall apart, because obviously that's a lot of time and effort gone, and that's a lot of money gone as well, because yarn is expensive. So steeking would be one thing, and then the other thing would be the brioche stitch. The reason why the brioche stitch makes me nervous is because I don't think there are a lot of videos out there who tell you how to fix it. I think it's very difficult to fix the mistakes that you have, and I'm a perfectionist. I don't like making mistakes, but they do happen, because when I knit in the dark and I don't see really what I'm doing, I make mistakes and then I have to rip back. So obviously I don't think anyone's perfect, but this stitch makes me so nervous, because I know if I mess this up, the whole piece is messed up. Like, you cannot just rip back and try again. So those two things are the ones that make me nervous. And then another person asked, what is your partner's opinion about your knitting, hobby / lifestyle? Does he ask and comment your whips? So let's start with what's my partner's opinion. My boyfriend's, he's very happy that I found this craft, because before I didn't really have that many hobbies. I like to read. I still read a lot. That is still a big part of my life, obviously, but I just wanted something creative, something where I can really learn some skills, and knitting and sewing as well gave me that outlet, and I'm very, very glad that I found it, and he's very proud of me that I found it and that I developed these skills. And whenever I tell someone that I'm knitting, they always like flabbergasted almost, and say, wow, that's so amazing, you have really a good craft and some skills that not a lot of people have. So yeah, he's very happy with my knitting. Does he comment and ask about my whips? Of course he does. Less so my whips and more so my yarn acquisitions and my ever so growing stash. I think that is a bit of a sore thumb for him because I just spend a lot of money. But for my whips, of course he does. I ask him about his opinion about some yarn, some colour choices, what he thinks will look good on me, if he thinks what I'm creating looks good on me. If not, then I'll just ignore his opinion, like every woman should. So he does tell me, for example, with this jumper, the Lento, he said this colour that is your colour. He loves this jumper so much on me, and I am really pleased to know that, because of course it makes you feel good when someone compliments you. In terms of the amount of whips that I have, he also comments on that, because one whip in particular is his sweater that I'm making, and I've just not got around to it really. There are just so many other things that I want to do that I kind of get distracted. But of course he asks, it's like, when is this done? When will I get that? Because it's been a while, not only in knitting but also in sewing. I've been sewing him a pair of trousers for at least 6 months now as well, or maybe even longer, just because I absolutely hate trousers and I constantly mess it up and I want it to be perfect, so I'm scared of actually starting it and doing it. But in general, I don't think he's really, like, he supports me in any way to express myself, and with my hobbies and my crafts, and yeah, that makes me obviously feel very good as well to know that I'm not doing something that he absolutely hates. Not that he would, but yeah, I hope that answers that question. I have a few like random personal questions. I think those are almost all of the knitting ones. I can't just quite remember. Might have another one. I might have to come back to that. But let's move on with, where are you from? Very simple one. I always say that in my videos. I'm from Austria. I'm originally from Graz, which is in the south of Austria. And it's not very far from Italy or Slovenia or Hungary, so Austria is kind of the ideal country you could be in. We are land bound, we don't have the sea, which makes me very sad. I've only seen the sea a few times in my life, let alone been swimming in the sea. For holidays we drive down to either Italy or Croatia, just because it's the closest. You're there in about 4 hours, thereabouts. And yeah, so I think Austria is it's a really good location because you're surrounded by 9 different countries and you can hop over the border. Austria is not a very big country, but we do have a lot of forest. I think about 60% or something is forest, so trees which you can't just cut down. So our population is also quite small. And of course we have the Alps, which is the biggest part of Austria, and I think also one of the most known features of Austria, the Alps. We have a lot of skiing resources. I do ski myself as well, and they take up a lot of space and they take away a lot of like building space and people to live there. Not that you would necessarily want to live on a hella steep mountain where no one can reach you, but just saying. So I'm originally from Graz, very very nice city, would highly recommend you visit. You don't need more than a day, it's very small. It is the second biggest city of Austria, and what I mean by that is there are about 800,000 people living there, so it's still quite small for a city, but it is the second biggest one. So Graz, I would highly recommend you visit. And I moved to Vienna for my degree. I am studying at the university here, so I moved almost 5 years ago now. I moved here, so I do live in Vienna currently. Vienna is also a nice place. It's got very very nice buildings, but the people are very rude. So I do have to say that it's not, if you come here for the people, don't. Stay as far away as you can. I don't think there's any shame in admitting that people are not very nice here, but it is worth a visit. My favourite snacks, treats or cake. I have a major sweet tooth. I like crisps as well, so salty things, but if I could choose, sweets are my absolute go-to. I absolutely love tiramisu. It is one of my favourite desserts. It's not really a cake, It's so creamy. I really like the creamy sort of cakes. So that is my absolute favorite, because you can also make it in summer or in winter and it's creamy, it's refreshing. You can put some other stuff in, it doesn't just have to be coffee, and you can make it as sweet or as unsweetened as you would like. So that is what I also like to make at home. If you have people coming round, you can just whip that up on the same day, whack it in the fridge for 6 hours, something like that, and voila. No need to bake anything, no need to turn on the oven, which is very nice, especially in summer when it's already like 38 degrees outside and you have to put on the oven. So yeah, my favorite cake, my favorite like treat or snack, I do like biscuits. I like biscuits and cookies a lot. Again, they kind of fall in the cake category. I absolutely love bourbons, if you're familiar from with the UK biscuits. I actually have a bag here. Hang on. I bought this tote bag when I was in England last in September. So bourbons, that's what they look like right here. They are delicious. They are so good. They are, I think it's like a chocolatey biscuit at the top, and then it's a bit like an Oreo, I guess. So good. Highly recommend these. I think these are my favorite ones. And then I also really like custard creams. I think here they are. That's what they look like, and that's exactly what they look like as well. So bourbon, custard cream. We actually have some here. They are not chocolatey, but they are vanilla like flavored. And if you don't really like dark chocolate, then I would absolutely recommend these to try. So I think those two are my absolute favorite types of biscuits. I don't really like to dunk them in tea. I know you can with your biscuits in the UK, but I'm not really that yeah. I like my biscuits and cookies to be crisp and crunchy when I eat them, not soggy. So yeah, I hope that answers that question, and we can move on with share something you're proud of in your life. And that is again a very good question and a very interesting one, because I'm really proud of moving here by myself. I am the first person in my family that is going to university, so I've not had anyone to tell me what it's going to be like, what I should look forward to and stuff like this. And I moved to a different city, so all by myself as well. Yes, I moved in with my boyfriend around the same time. We were apart for about a month, and then he came over from the UK, and ever since we've been living together here. But I'm really proud of taking that step and saying I want to get out of the city, because I've always wanted to go away. As the word says, Wanderlust. It's a very popular one nowadays. And it's exactly that. If you're not familiar with it, it essentially means that you have the desire to go away and travel and experience different things. That's what the word means, Wanderlust. And I've always wanted to get out of where I come from. Everyone in my family knew that as soon as I would get the chance, I would get out of here. And I would move somewhere else, and I would live somewhere else. And I don't regret that decision, and I still wouldn't want to go back home just yet. I'm not sure if I ever would want to live back at home in Graz. I don't know why, but it just is the way it is. So I think that is my proudest thing in my life. as of right now. And then the second thing would be that I am really proud of sticking with my study. I am very close to finishing. I hope that I can actually do that soon, because I'm really sick of university at the moment. I've been doing this for a while and I just can't handle the stress and pressure anymore, so I would like to get a bit of distance in between me and the academic world. So that will be hopefully my second proudest moment, that I got a degree in business and economics. And I think that kind of ties in very nicely with the question, would you come to the UK to live? And the answer is yes, I would definitely. Even before my boyfriend, I always said I really want to go to the UK. I want to live there or be there, study there, whatever it may be. And I still stand by this today. I fell in love with the country, I have to say. The country is, especially England, I mean, I've not been anywhere else really, but I just feel so at peace and so at home there. I don't know really what it is, but I definitely want to live there one day. The only problem is, ever since Brexit happened, it got a lot more difficult to stay there permanently because of the visas you can get. And the easiest one for me right now would be to get a student visa, because then you're allowed to come to the UK and live there for the duration of your study, and then I think you might be able to apply for permanent residency afterwards. That is really the only option that I can see at the moment, because the other visa that you can get is a volunteering visa. So you can get into the country, but you're not allowed to work, so you're not allowed to earn any money because you're supposed to volunteer. And then the other one, or the last one I think you can get, is to already have a job and come to work there. But at least from what I read last, I don't know if that changed, you have to earn about £3,000 per month for a job, or from a job that you have to have before you even go to the UK. So you have to have a job there before you move there, and it has to pay you £3,000 per month, and that's just not realistic for the average person to get such a high-paying job in such a short amount of time without even being in the country yet. I do see where these things are coming from, but I think this is just unnecessarily hard to enter. And in terms of where I would want to live, I would want to live in the north. I've only so far been in the north of England, but I just feel very at home there. I like the sea. I really like to see the sea and go to the coast, like towns that you have there. And I also really want to visit Scotland, because I think it's gonna be a bit like home here with the mountains and stuff. So I really want to go there as well, and I can see myself living there as well. Right, so I have a few more questions, and one is about knitting. So that is the one that I missed from before, and that is, what is your dream knit? And my dream knit would be, right now it would be the first sweater, because by Hive Knits, I think it is, because it has, I believe it is brioche on the sleeves. So that's why I'm nervous about trying brioche, but I've seen this sweater so many times and it looks absolutely incredible, and I really want it in my wardrobe, but I'm just so nervous to try that. Another one would be the Billy pullover by Sari Nordland. I really like her patterns. There are a lot of them that I have, and there are a lot of them that I want to knit, but I'm very nervous about them because they are very intricate. She's like the queen of lace and cables, and I'm not sure if I will be able to do that. So the billy pullover is a cable knit, if you're not familiar with it, and it's got honeycombs. And I've started, well, I made some honeycombs for my boyfriend's sweater. It's got a middle panel with honeycombs. I think that is very common to do from a design perspective. But I'm very nervous about this because I heard that the sweater is very constricting because of the honeycombs, and I don't really want to make a sweater and put all of this effort in it, especially a cable knit, when I won't be able to wear it because it's not comfortable. So I do have the pattern, I have it in my Ravelry queue. I even have the yarn that I would like to use for it, but I'm just so apprehensive about it that I don't know if I will ever cast it on or if I will just admire from afar. So that is my dream knit. And going back to the discussion from before about if I would ever consider living in England or in the UK, what inspires you, and this is definitely traveling. England inspires me a lot, and traveling in general. I mean, I think it's very common for people to draw inspiration from other countries and other cultures, and that is also the case for me. I like to see different things, I like to experience different things, and then there might be some like ideas popping into your head or some designs where you think, oh, this would remind me of this place forever, and I just really want to make it. So, but yeah, especially England inspires me a lot. The coast, the culture, the people, and just life. So, the last question. Here we go. Let me pull it up. The last question is, I would like to know why you got your English accent. You pronounce the U in but differently. Yes, I do. I get this question a lot, and I see why. I understand why people want to know about it. My boyfriend is from the north of England, as I've mentioned that part now very often. You could probably make like a drinking game out of it. How many times does she say England or the north of England? But he is from that area, and we've been talking for a while. We've known each other for a long time now, and I started taking on his accent. It was not my intention to do so, but I've always liked the British way of speaking English. So when we started actually Skyping and having like face-to-face contact as much as you can over a screen, he started to correct me with things, and I stick out like a sore thumb, especially here in Austria where you don't speak English as the main language, and you then have like an English course, and everyone speaks with American pronunciation because that's the way we learn it, which I'm sure my boyfriend can tell you many things why that shouldn't be the case, and that's why that isn't the case as well. But that's how I got my accent, because he's a Yorkshire man and I speak like that now. The accent is not very common anymore in the north either. It's slowly starting to fade away, like any language does naturally. But yeah, I just took on his accent, and I'm not mad about it, even though it makes me feel self-conscious because people constantly look at me in a strange way because I don't speak the way other people think I should speak, and yeah, but that's okay. I see why, and I get where these questions come from, and I know they're not with malintention. but it still makes me a bit uncomfortable, especially when friends are here or people from England and they're from a different part, or it doesn't even have to be a different part, but they always look at me like, you speak exactly like him, and I'm like, yes, I know, thank you for pointing that out. It's not as if I don't know. But yeah, I hope that answers that question as well. And this is the end of all of the questions that I got. Thank you so much for sending all of those in. If you want to know anything else about me, you can either leave a comment down below here, or I will probably do one of these once again, maybe in, I don't know, 6 months. I don't know what a good timeline is for new people to see if they want to know anything else about me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I answered all of your questions to a satisfying extent. And yeah, I hope you join me next week for my podcast episode. The giveaway that I'm doing right now is still open. You still have another week left, so you can head over to Instagram and read more about it over there, or you can check out my last podcast episode number 20, where I talk about it again there as well. And I hope you have a lovely weekend whenever you're gonna watch this. I hope you have really nice weather as well. It's been so nice. Spring definitely is here, even though the temperature drops again, but that's okay. And yeah, happy knitting. Bye.